Well, on to the details now. The much-awaited first presidential debate between former U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris is going on. Immigration, abortion, employment, inflation, economy are the major issues that are making much of noise. Vice President, Democratic candidate Kamala Harris began the debate with making her first remark. Both Democratic and presidential candidates then embroiled in accusations. Kamala Harris accused Trump of destroying economy, while Trump said he has done the best in American history to revive the economy. And we have Mr. Prabhu Dayal, a former senior diplomat, joining us on DD India for discussion on the debate. Well, welcome to DD India, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, a very high-stake debate where the two leaders met for the first time, shook hands. Everything from abortion to economy was widely spoken about. What do you have to say?
Well, I was also watching the debate on my television screen here till I was called away to be on your channel. And, you know, yes, it started off very well. Kamala Harris went across and shook hands with Donald Trump. And the expected issues, of course, figured in the debate. The economy, abortion rights, the child tax credit, Project 2025, which both sides spoke about, the high tariffs which Trump plans to impose on foreign goods, which Kamala Harris maintains would cost the Americans a lot. Then issues like abortion, you know, the Roe versus Wade controversy. Then, of course, foreign policy issues, the issue of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, then the issue of the Israel versus Hamas war, and of course the Russia-Ukraine war. All these expectedly figured in the debate, and there was depolarization between the two sides. Both stuck to their points. But I think on balance, the impression which I personally got was that Kamala Harris did better.
All right. So also the debate was very much about the Trump style and personality, anger being a part of that, the way he was responding to her, that also, and the way everything, the moderation was happening.
Well, you know, the moderators tried to keep Donald Trump's temper and his language under control. Kamala Harris laughed her way through. She appeared to be mocking him through her laughter, her smiles. The fact of the matter is that there is depolarization between the two sides on all these issues which we mentioned. And this polarization is becoming more and more visible, more and more sharp as the presidential election date of November 5 approaches. And I'm afraid that while this will be the last of the presidential debates, there will be a vice presidential debate later. And perhaps these issues will resurface. But I must say that unlike the debate which took place between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, where Trump completely whitewashed his opponent, in this particular instance, Kamala Harris has come out better. She has appeared more reasonable. She has been better equipped with facts. She has spoken very well. And I think this round belonged to her.
All right. Clearly, Harris winning there. Also, Sir, Vice President Harris's approach appeared to signal that fighting with Mr. Trump was less important than speaking to the voters. She seemed to be more concerned about that.
Yes, indeed. Of course, both sides were trying to reach out to voters. And in fact, Kamala Harris also reached out to disaffected Republicans because she said that disaffected Republicans are more than welcome to come over onto our side. That means meeting the Democrats. There is, of course, the attempt to reach out to voters, but at the same time, there are some fixed vote banks. Both the parties have supporters who will stick by them, and a lot will depend on how things go in the swing states or the battleground states, as they are called. There are 7 of them, and Philadelphia is one of them. So it's very Pennsylvania is one of them. So it's significant that this debate was taking place there. So I think that this debate covered a very wide range of issues, both relating to domestic politics, domestic matters, and foreign policy related issues. These are all very important in the minds of people, and they affect a lot of the voters. So I think that this debate is very, very pertinent in the context of how the voters are thinking at present and how they will be voting in the November 5 election.
Right, sir. So also Harris also spoke about Trump's indictments and reminding the viewers that Mr. Trump is a convicted felon, and while he called the cases against him very fake, he also repeated a bogus claim about immigrants eating dogs.
You know, he made a lot of bogus claims all through, and she, being a highly qualified and professional solicitor, was able to spot the lies and tick him off right there and then. In that sense also, his attempt to pull a fast one didn't really succeed. So I think that on the issues which you mentioned, although these were raised, these did come up, but there again, I think Kamala Harris did better.
All right. So also, if we talk about Trump, all of Trump's legal challenges to the outcome of 2020 election were dismissed on technicalities or the basis of standing.
You know, there are many issues which are still going on, but I don't think that these can prevent Donald Trump from contesting the presidential election. In fact, even if he is imprisoned, he can fight the election from inside prison. So it will really be up to the voters to decide not just the fate of Donald Trump, but the fate of the United States. And of course, if he gets elected, he can pardon himself, he can exercise the presidential pardon, and all this hullabaloo about the cases against him will totally be brought to naught. But let us put it correctly, the ball is going to be in the voters' court. They will be deciding how things should be for the United States in the coming years and who should be their president.
Right. So also when Trump was asked if he wanted Ukraine to win the war against Russia, he categorically said that I want the war to stop, and Trump did not answer the question clearly and instead argued that NATO has to pay up for it. What's your take on that?
You know, there are many aspects of this. Firstly, Trump repeatedly said that if he had been president, the Russia-Ukraine war would not have started. He didn't really spell out the reasons, but from what one could discern, what he was hinting was that Biden is weak. And as the president of the United States, he had not been able to exert enough influence internationally, and that is why the Russia-Ukraine war started, because Putin thought he could have his way. Whereas what Trump was trying to project was that he was a strong president, and his strength would have made sure that Putin didn't have the guts to attack Ukraine. At the same time, Donald Trump made his usual comments regarding NATO. You know, Donald Trump has repeatedly said that he forced the other NATO members to pay their contributions, which is, of course, to some extent true, because there were many defaulters within NATO who were not paying their subscriptions. And Trump had said that he would lift the security umbrella he wouldn't have the United States provide security if those other NATO members were not paying their share of contributions. So there is no doubt that this pressure which he brought to bear on NATO was very, very helpful in that context. But at the same time, there is no doubt that he doesn't repose much faith in NATO. He doesn't want to be too much involved in issues like European security. And in that sense, the backing which Biden has given to NATO is, according to Donald Trump, a factor which provoked President Putin. So there are many aspects to it, but the fact is the Russia-Ukraine war is a reality. And now the issue which confronts everybody is how to end this war, how to end the Israel-Hamas conflict, how to prevent Chinese expansionism in the Indo-Pacific region. And these are issues which the next president of the United States would have to grapple with.
All right. So, be with us. Meanwhile, we are also joined by our correspondent Akshay Dongre. Well, Akshay, what will you say about the pattern of the debate, about the overall highlights which the debate had?
Yes, we have been listening to the debate, and somewhat it was unexpected lines as we were discussing yesterday as well regarding the debate and the nature of it and how it is going to be conducted by the two presidential candidates, Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, and Donald Trump, the former President of the country. Now, we saw a lot of blame game, a lot of allegations that the other candidate has been lying about, portraying their opponent in a certain bad light, be it the issue of abortion, the issue of immigration, the issue of flow of drugs into America, or the issue of inflation and economy. But there have been certain points that are worthy to be noted. In particular, the emotional appeal that has been made by Kamala Harris when it comes to the issue of abortion. Repeatedly making a claim that Donald Trump and other people cannot make decisions about the body of a woman, whereas we have also seen that somewhat on the issue of abortion, we have seen Donald Trump getting stuck to a certain point. He has been making certain claims that have also been denied by the moderators. In fact, the claim regarding the law to in fact execute a baby, as he was mentioning, after he is born or he or she is born, was in fact refuted by the moderators as well, which in a way set Donald Trump a bit back on the issue of abortion, whereas Kamala Harris clearly took a lead when it comes to the kind of emotional appeal that she was making, especially being a woman candidate, and she made certain very strong points regarding that particular issue. When it comes to the inflow of drugs like fentanyl, Kamala Harris again tried to make a personal connect with the viewers of this debate, especially the voters of the country, stating that she is aware of, she is aware that many of the families who are in fact affected by the inflow of such a drug are also watching the debate. They have been personally impacted. So there has been a touch of this personal appeal in the debate that has been made by Kamala Harris on many points. Whereas so far from what we have seen, Donald Trump has been quite rigid in his approach. He has been making certain claims. He has been quite assertive, and he is not backing down despite what the kind of setbacks that he is getting. And looking from a looking from voters, psychological perspective, a lot of Republican voters, especially who are not from the swing states, we have seen that there has been a pattern on conservative voters supporting Donald Trump. So he also wants to secure that voter base by not making too liberal statements or claims. So that goes as far as the issue of immigration is concerned, where he has been talking about towns being taken over by the immigrants, pets being eaten by the certain community of immigrants that have stormed certain towns of the United States. Whereas Kamala Harris has been refuting not just the allegations, but has been calling Donald Trump a liar on repeat mode. In fact, it may be a strategy of Kamala Harris to instigate Donald Trump to further make mistakes or to dig a deeper hole where she can in fact target him more as far as his claims are concerned. But clearly both the candidates are trying that through their statement, through their appeals, they can make the other one lose the track of the debate that has been going on. So it has been interesting so far. far, as you rightly mentioned, the issue of NATO. Donald Trump has some certain strong points here when it comes to NATO. As a guest also has been talking about the kind of defaulters that have been part of the NATO who have not been paying their part. Donald Trump did make a strong case against those countries that why should the United States pay for the security of European countries when they are themselves not willing to pay. And this is a point which has been taken up by him time and again. Back to you.
All right. All right. My next question to you, sir. Sir, Trump was pressed on his assertion that Vice President Kamala Harris recently became black, and he said whatever she wants to be is okay with me. Ms. Harris lamented his use of divisive rhetoric on race.
You know, Trump has been criticized for making these remarks which are racist in nature. He had said that Kamala Harris used to call herself an Indian all along, and suddenly when she was to contest the presidential election, when her name came up for that, then she started calling herself black. But the fact is that she is of a mixed race. Her mother was of Indian origin, her father was Jamaican, so she can call herself of Indian origin. At the same time, she can call herself black. And in the United States, the blacks have more voting power, more voting strength. So if it goes to her advantage, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There was a lot of name calling during this debate. And that is inevitable if there is Donald Trump, because he uses very, very strong language, and sometimes that verges on hate. For example, he made some allegations against Kamala Harris in the context of the Israel-Palestinian relationship. He said that Kamala Harris hates the Arabs. And he said that because, at the same time, she had skipped the speech of Netanyahu in the U.S. Senate. So he was trying to portray her in a very negative fashion. Of course, she defended herself because she was quite prepared for these attacks, very frankly.
Sir, my last question to you. The debate is nearing completion. Harris spent her closing statement seeking to draw a final contrast between her vision for the country and that of Trump. What's your take on that?
Well, first of all, let me say that I was not allowed to watch the debate till the very end because your studio people pulled me away and wanted me to come straight away onto the Zoom link. However, let me say that the debate is about what each candidate will do to fulfill the aspirations of the American people. Both the candidates are trying to reach out to voters to convince them that on issues which affect them very much, like the economy, like tariffs, like gasoline prices, like health care, abortion, that these are issues on which they have thought things through and would adopt policies which would benefit the American people. Now, how much they are able to convince the voters about the strength of their policies remains to be seen. This debate will continue. It's not going to get over tonight. It will now be carried out through the media.
Surely, it's just a start. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, and Akshay on the debate details. And moving on, India is gearing up for a groundbreaking 3-day event focused on the future of semiconductor technology. Before Semicon India 2024 kicks off in Greater Noida near the national capital this Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the Semiconductor Executives Roundtable at his residence, discussed a wide range of subjects relating to the semiconductor sector. He also spoke about how this sector can further the development trajectory of our planet. Also highlighted the reforms taking place in India, making our nation a great investment destination. With over 250 exhibitors from across the world, the event will position India as a potential global semiconductor hub. Here's a closer look at what's in store.
Themed Shaping the Semiconductor Future, Semicon India 2024 is a landmark event that aims to boost India's semiconductor ecosystem. With support from the Ministry of Electronics and Information and Technology and the India Semiconductor Mission, the exhibition is set to showcase the country's strides in electronics and semiconductor development. But the event is about more than just technology. It is about positioning India as a future leader in semiconductor manufacturing. Even though India's semiconductor industry is still in its early stages, the government has big plans. Several new semiconductor plants are under construction, including facilities in Gujarat and Assam. The Modi government has committed over $1 billion to boost the semiconductor and display manufacturing industry, with the aim of making India a self-reliant global power in this critical sector.
When Modi ji rolled out his vision about semiconductor nation, and subsequently then there were policies announced by very important two ministers, Ashwini Vaishnav ji and Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji. They really thought through what India should do about semiconductor.
The Indian government's production-linked incentive scheme is a major driver behind this push, attracting investments and creating jobs. This industry has the potential to create 25,000 direct and 75,000 indirect jobs in the coming years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also on many occasions emphasized how important semiconductor production is for India's long-term technology goals.
So far, as you know, we have had very good traction. So the first project was Micron, which was approved. It's an AT&P. It is approved for almost 22,000 crores. And then came the Tata Fab. They are partnering with Taiwan foundry, one of the major foundry players, TSMC. And also Tata is coming up with one OSAT facility in Assam. Also CG Power is coming up with a OSAT facility in Gujarat. And their technology partner is Renesas Japan, which is a big name in semiconductors.
Semiconductors power everything from smartphones to cars. As India accelerates its manufacturing plans, this industry could be key to reducing import and India's dependency on other countries for this critical technology and in turn boosting local production. Dibyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
All right, and top semiconductor CEOs expressed their appreciation after meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Semiconductor Executives Roundtable. CEOs appreciated India's commitment to the growth of the semiconductor sector and said that what has transpired today is unprecedented, wherein leaders of the entire semiconductor sector have been brought under one roof.
Modi's leadership, things are so nice that the whole world is coming with me to this summit.
Really excited and delighted by Prime Minister Modi's vision, consistency and foresight into what is needed from a semiconductor industry ecosystem development perspective for India.
We are really excited about the vision of the Prime Minister and how he's looking at the digital infrastructure for the future of our country and the Viksit Bharat, and the important role that semiconductors will play.
I think that what the Prime Minister is doing right now to elevate India on the global scale is what not only India needs, but what the world needs for India to be at the forefront.
It shows really a very strong commitment and dedication to make India a powerhouse in the area of semiconductor technology.
As you know, semiconductor is essential technology for all digital industries. And with Modi ji leadership, there is a big momentum, compared to 3 years ago.
In the last 2-3 years, the enthusiasm and the focus around the sector with clear strategy of how to and where to invest from design all the way to manufacturing. And right now, what I'm seeing, the interest is to go from a engineering center to create products and for both local and global consumption.
India has taken a huge step forward in the semiconductor industry a lot of energy, a lot of progress.
The Prime Minister has shown an amazing vision in the semiconductor mission. No administration in the history of this country had the courage to create a right policy when it came to semiconductors.
And the second Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Civil Aviation will begin in New Delhi on Wednesday. The two-day conference is co-hosted by the International Civil Aviation Organization and the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India. The first ministerial conference of the Asia-Pacific region was organized in 2018 in Beijing, in China. During the first conference, India volunteered to host the second conference in 2020. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the conference was postponed. And Akshay Saxena, founder and co-CEO of Avanti Fellows, has been honored with the prestigious Social Entrepreneur of the Year award for 2024. India's Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri presented the award to Akshay Saxena at an event in New Delhi. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said that the Social Entrepreneur of the Year award not only recognizes champions of India's social entrepreneurship movement, but also provides a platform for these companies to expand their reach and explore potential collaboration opportunities. The event, organized by the Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship and Jubilant Bharatiya Foundation, celebrates the incredible achievements and innovations of entrepreneurs who are making a difference by empowering the marginalized and vulnerable sections of Indian society. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The attacks by the wolves continue unabated in Uttar Pradesh's Bahrain district, even as the Forest Department has launched a search operation to capture the man-eating animals. In yet another such incident in Mahasi region, an 11-year-old girl was injured when a wolf attacked her on Tuesday night. The incident has further heightened fear among locals in the region. To raise voter awareness among the common masses ahead of the upcoming state assembly elections in North India's Jammu and Kashmir, the district administration of Udhampur district has organized a voters awareness rally under systematic voters education and electoral participation. Large number of devotees offered prayers at Mumbai's Lal Bagcha Raja Ganesh idol amidst the ongoing Ganesh Chaturthi. Lal Bagcha Raja is the oldest Ganpati Pandal in the city. That is a key highlight of the festival, attracting thousands of devotees who come to seek the deity's blessings. And still to come, DD India News Hour. Venezuelan opposition says Edmundo Gonzalez could still return. Mexico's Senate debates judicial reform amid protest. And in Bolivia, workers' union march to Congress demand approval to international loans.
All dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Napakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Battle of wits plays out amid the Donald Trump-Kamala Harris face-off in Philadelphia. Harris rakes up unemployment figures to corner Trump. Trump criticizes inflation during Biden's term to get back. Ahead of Semicon India 2024, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs Semiconductor Executives Roundtable, emphasizes that democracy and technology together can ensure the welfare of humanity. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar holds wide-ranging discussions on bilateral issues with German counterpart in Berlin, also exchanges views on Ukraine, Gaza and the Indo-Pacific region. West imposes fresh sanctions on Iran for supplying Russia with ballistic missiles. Iran threatens proportionate action as Ukraine says it could cut ties with Tehran. Louisiana braces for life-threatening surge as tropical storm Francine intensifies to a Category 1 hurricane. Mandatory evacuations ordered from coastal areas. Schools closed. And the second edition of the International Conference on Green Hydrogen will begin in New Delhi on Wednesday. The conference will provide a platform for showcasing products, services and technologies to a global audience. Through the National Green Hydrogen Mission announced last year, India expects to position itself as a hub of green hydrogen and its derivatives. Since the inaugural edition, the Indian Green Hydrogen Mission has achieved significant progress with the target of establishing 5 million tons of annual green hydrogen production capacity by 2030. The Green Hydrogen Mission represents a significant step towards realizing India's ambitions in the hydrogen economy. Well, this is the second edition of the International Conference on Green Hydrogen, which will begin in New Delhi today. The conference will provide a platform for showcasing products, services and technologies to a global audience. Through the National Green Hydrogen Mission announced last year, India expects to position itself as a hub of green hydrogen and its derivatives. We may tell you that since the inaugural edition, the Indian Green Hydrogen Mission has achieved a significant progress with a target of establishing 5 million tons of annual green hydrogen production capacity by 2030. The Green Hydrogen Mission represents a significant step towards realizing India's ambitions in the hydrogen economy. And for more on the conference, we have Siddharth joining us for more. Well, Siddharth, the second edition of the International Conference on Green Hydrogen will begin in New Delhi today. India, being Green Hydrogen Mission, has achieved significant progress there. What all is planned?
A very good morning to you, Lipakshi. Now, before telling you about the event, let me tell you about the pivotal role green hydrogen is playing in a global push for finding a cleaner energy solution. Now, green hydrogen can be produced through the renewable energy resources like the wind energy and the solar energy. And, it emits zero carbon. So basically, it can decarbonize the sectors like transportation. It can decarbonize sectors like industry and other energy-related sectors that we have. So India having abundance of renewable energy resources makes it a perfect destination for production of green hydrogen and, of course, export of green hydrogen. Aligning with the climate promise that India has done of being energy independent by 2047 and net zero by 2070. If you remember, Lipakshi, last year in the month of January, India launched the National Green Hydrogen Mission. The aim of that mission is to make India a global hub for production of green hydrogen and also the export of green hydrogen. The investment which was made in this mission was around 19,700 crores, with certain expectations, the outcomes, which including 5 MMT of green hydrogen production per annum by 2030, and also 6 lakh new green jobs. Apart from that, 8 lakh crore investment, and also 125 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity to produce green hydrogen. So all in all, this is a great initiative which was taken by the Indian government, like I said, aligning with its climate promise of being net zero by 2070. We very well know, Lipakshi, that India is a favorite destination when it comes to investments in renewables. And also now coming to the event, Lipakshi, this is the second international conference which India is organizing in Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. This particular conference will have about 7,000 delegates participating. There will be plenary sessions to expert talks and whatnot, and this will particularly generate ideas on how to produce green hydrogen and also how to export green hydrogen. This will also have some celebrity appearances at the conference as well. Certain union ministers will also be coming and participating in this conference. So all in all, it's one thing which I forgot to tell you, Lipakshi, is that it will also have the startup initiatives in the green hydrogen sphere. So all in all, this conference provides a great platform for the business opportunity as well, and from all across the world, where people will be coming and participating in this conference. They'll be sharing ideas on how to produce green hydrogen, how to store green hydrogen, and how to export green hydrogen as well. So all in all, it's going to be a great initiative from the Indian government to provide a sustainable environment, to provide a sustainable future, cleaner and greener energy for present and future generations to come.
All right, definitely green hydrogen can replace fossil fuels. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining us and giving us all those details. And moving on, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is in Germany on the second leg of a three-nation tour, interacted with members of German Parliament, Deutscher Bundestag in Berlin. The minister appreciated their insights on contemporary global issues. Jaishankar shared views on current global challenges and possibilities of new collaborations between India and Germany.
Germany is a crucial partner in accelerating our growth and development. India, in turn, can contribute to building reliable and resilient supply chains.
Also speaking at the joint presser meet with his Berlin counterpart, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that India has a four-point principle towards the resolution of the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Suggestions have been made from time to time. For us, this is not about a process or about being seen. What is important for us is the reality of the conflict that is taking place today. So if, we are always open to any step that is serious, that is impactful, and that is, in our view, a step towards peace.
Well, in response to questions, the minister said that India will deal with the government of the day in Bangladesh through diplomatic channels, not by commenting on media reports.
There's a change of government in Bangladesh, and we obviously deal with the government of the day. How we deal with that is through diplomatic channels, not necessarily through reports which may be reported by the press.
And moving on, France, Germany and Britain have condemned Iran for transferring ballistic missiles to Russia, calling it a direct threat to European security. This comes after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken confirmed Russia had received the missiles and could use them in Ukraine within weeks. In response, the European nations vowed to cancel air service agreements with Iran and pursue sanctions on Iran Air. The UK also announced sanctions on Russian cargo ships involved in transporting Iranian military supplies. Foreign Minister David Lammy warned that any missile transfers from Iran would prompt severe consequences. Moreover, the European Union has vowed a strong response to Iran's transfer of ballistic missiles to Russia, calling it a significant military escalation. EU Foreign Affairs spokesperson Peter Stano revealed that under the direction of Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell, a set of decisive and targeted measures against Iran has been presented to the EU's 27 members for approval. Meanwhile, Iran dismissed the allegations as ugly propaganda aimed at diverting attention from Western military support to Israel. And on Tuesday, Kyiv warned that it may cut diplomatic ties with Tehran if Russia uses Iranian missiles in attacks on Ukraine, deeming such actions unacceptable. And Pentagon spokesperson Major General Patrick Ryder said on Tuesday that the U.S. confirmed reports that Russia has received ballistic missiles from Iran for its war in Ukraine. The Pentagon spokesperson said they believe dozens of Russian military personnel were trained in Iran to use this missile system. According to Ryder, the U.S. assesses the FAT-360, a type of close-range ballistic missile system, could be used within weeks against Ukraine, leading to the deaths of even more Ukrainian civilians.
The United States has confirmed reports that Iran has transferred shipments of Fateh 360 close-range ballistic missiles to Russia, which we assess could employ them within weeks against Ukraine, leading to the deaths of even more Ukrainian civilians. To echo our State Department and White House colleagues, this is a deeply concerning development, as this partnership between Iran and Russia threatens European security and illustrates how Iran's destabilizing influence reaches beyond the Middle East and around the world. Additionally, Russian support for Iran is destabilizing as well, as Moscow is sharing technology that Iran needs. We'll continue to monitor these developments alongside our allies and partners across Europe and the Middle East, and remain steadfast in our support to Ukraine's defense from the threat these missile systems may pose to the people of Ukraine.
Well, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, without singling out Iran, pledged on Tuesday to consolidate a strong worldwide response to any power helping Russia's war effort or inciting or prolonging the conflict, pitting Kyiv against Moscow.
I want to say to everyone in the world who still wants to somehow help Putin, we will do everything, not just to defend our state and people, but to truly consolidate the world for strong responses to the incitement of war or any attempts to prolong it.
And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived for bilateral meetings in Rzeszów in Poland. Blinken is expected to discuss the country's defense and energy cooperation and their work as NATO allies to support Ukraine's defense. Earlier, Blinken met with the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Foreign Secretary David Lammy in London, where he discussed a range of critical issues, including efforts to support Ukraine as well as the Indo-Pacific. AUKUS partnership in the Middle East. Blinken and Lammy will travel to Kyiv on Wednesday, where they're expected to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The trip to Kyiv will be Blinken's fifth since Russia-Ukraine conflict. And moving on to Venezuela, Venezuelan opposition leader said that presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez will remain a very clear voice pushing for change in his country despite fleeing to seek asylum in Spain. Exiled opposition members Antonio Ledesma and Leopoldo Lopez said that Gonzalez could also still return to take office on the 10th of January. Lopez called for oil and personal sanctions to be applied to his government by US and the European Union. Ledesma insisted Gonzalez's flight from the country would strengthen the cause. Meanwhile, Venezuelan exiles, including Gonzalez's daughter, Carolina Gonzalez, gathered outside the Spanish parliament on Tuesday as Spanish lawmakers debated a symbolic motion from the main opposition party to recognize Gonzalez as winner of the elections. The motion is expected to be approved on Wednesday. And Mexico's Senate paused a debate of a judicial overhaul on Tuesday after protesters broke into the building. Senate President Jose Gerardo Fernandez said the session was suspended and asked lawmakers to remain calm as demonstrators flooded the upper level of the chamber. Opposition lawmakers accused the ruling bloc of underhand tactics to ensure they secure the votes needed for the approval. The vote is expected to be light, with the ruling coalition formally one senator short of the two-thirds majority needed to pass the constitutional reform. Protesters blocked roads and waved Mexican flags outside the Senate building in the opposition to the reform, which has prompted widespread demonstrations in recent weeks. Senators are expected to vote on the reform later, with debate likely to go into the early hours of Wednesday. The backbone of the constitutional reform calls for the election by popular vote of more than 6,500 judges and magistrates, including the Supreme Court. And Algeria's presidential candidates who lost out to incumbent Abdelmadjid Tebboune filed appeals to the Constitutional Court on Tuesday contesting the provisional result of the vote. Abdelali Hassani, who heads the moderate Islamist party, the Movement of Society for Peace, was first to submit the appeal. Yusuf Oucheche, head of the centre-left Socialist Forces Front, later followed suit, accusing the Electoral Authority, ANE, of forging the September 7th election's result. Tebboune had been widely expected to breeze through the election and was focused instead on securing a high turnout. Well, the Bolivian workers sent in supporters of Luis Arces's government marched to the National Assembly demanding approval for international loans and bills that are blocked in the chamber. Demonstrators declared a constant vigil near the Bolivian Congress, pressuring Parliament to approve credits amounting to as much as $1 billion, which Arces's government insists on amid a foreign exchange crisis. The Bolivian opposition and the faction of the Socialist Movement Party have resisted approving these loans due to the Bolivian state's high debt levels. Trade unions and social organizations are also urging Congress to pass pension law reform that would mandate retirement at the age of 65. Local banking institutions have imposed a restriction on financial transactions in dollars, sparking the rise of a so-called black market. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A nature-inspired wildfire early warning device that will alert the authorities as soon as a fire is detected has won the prestigious annual James Dyson Award in the UK. The pine cone-like device, called Pyre and made from bio-based materials, is a high-trigger transmitter that sends a radio signal alert when it is exposed to a wildfire. The James Dyson Award is awarded to celebrate, encourage and inspire the designers of new problem-solving ideas. U.S. fashion designer Michael Kors presented his Spring-Summer 2025 collection during the New York Fashion Week in Hudson Yards. Celebrities, including Lindsay Lohan and Kerry Washington, flocked to the Michael Kors running show. And now with updates from across the globe, Tropical Storm Francine became a Category 1 hurricane as it churned towards the southern U.S. state of Louisiana on Wednesday. Governor Jeff Landry has declared a state of emergency. It will bring 10 to 20 centimeters of heavy rainfall, potential tornadoes and damaging winds to much of central and eastern Louisiana. Authorities called for a mandatory evacuation of residents in coastal communities. Schools were closed and officials distributed sandbags. Louisiana was the site of one of the most devastating hurricanes in U.S. history, Hurricane Katrina, which killed more than 1,800 people in 2005. And in Vietnam, the death toll from Super Typhoon Yagi has risen to 141, while around 60 others are still missing. Heavy rains brought by Typhoon Yagi have triggered deadly landslides and floods throughout the northern region of the Southeast Asian nation. There has also been severe property damage and disruption to business and industry. Local authorities and functional forces are actively engaged in relief and rescue operations in the affected provinces and cities. The international community has not only praised Vietnam's efforts, but is also coming together to support the country in these efforts. Also, international organizations, including the UNDP, UNICEF and WHO, are collaborating with the Vietnamese government to conduct field surveys and assess the damage and support needs in affected areas. Based on these assessments, specific and practical support plans will also be developed. Well, you're watching DD India News. Our time now for some sports news. The England cricket team on Tuesday named a 17-member squad for the 3-match test tour of Pakistan set to be played in October. Ben Stokes will be back as captain while he'll still continue his recovery from a hamstring tear that kept him out of the recent test series victory against Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, 8 players from the squad, including Ollie Pope and Joe Root, will return to Pakistan following the 3-0 test series victory in 2022. The venues for the 3-match series are yet to be confirmed, with an announcement expected from the Pakistan Cricket Board later this week. And Iran earned a 1-0 win against the UAE in the third round of Asian World Cup qualifier on Tuesday. Mehdi Ghaedi, who currently plays his club football in the UAE with Kalba, scored the game's only goal in first half stoppage time. The result puts Iran second in Group A, equal with Uzbekistan, who also boast a perfect 2 win from 2 matches but behind on goals scored. Paulo Bento's UAE, meanwhile, sat third on 3 points, having beaten 2 times reigning Asian Cup winners Qatar in their group opener. Well, Japan thrashed Bahrain 5-0 in Riffa on Tuesday to secure maximum points from their first two matches in the third round of Asian World Cup qualifying. Feyenoord striker Isa Ueda opened the scoring from the penalty spot in the 37th minute before adding his second goal soon after the restart. Substitute Koki Ogawa completed the goal cut to hand Hajime Moriyasu's side hand a comprehensive 5-0 defeat. With a goal difference of +12 from the first two matches, Japan sit top of the standings on 6 points in Group C. Meanwhile, it was a reality check for Bahrain after upsetting Australia 1-0 in Sydney in their opening group match. And the US Soccer announced on Tuesday that former Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino has been named a new coach of the United States men's team. The Argentine, who parted ways with Premier League side Chelsea in May after one season in charge, will take the reins in the US ahead of the 2026 World Cup. The World Cup will be co-hosted by Mexico, Canada and the United States. Former Paris Saint-Germain and Tottenham's Hotspur manager Pochettino joined Chelsea on a 2-year deal to replace interim manager Frank Lampard, but left the West London club after a turbulent campaign that saw them finish 6th. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.